All right, now I am going to go through a scenario to show you how to double your retirement plan overnight. This always piques people's attention. So, and they say, how do you do that? How do you not do that? You can't do that, whatever. And I'm going to give you a scenario where this happened when the market crashed in 2007. Let's say, which we will have at some point in time, we have another market crash. Is market crash a bad thing? Not always. It washes out a lot of the garbage that shouldn't be there anyway. But in the 2007 case, it was garbage that, in my opinion, was significantly produced by the malice and contempt of the U.S. government. But that's a totally different class. So let's go back to 2007. And we saw IRAs, the average self-directed IRA that was brought over was about $200,000. After the crash in 7 and 8, we saw IRAs go down in value from 50 to 60%. So I'm going to use a figure of a $200,000 IRA that went down in value to $100,000. And I'm going to put it in a real-life scenario. This is a real piece of property. As a matter of fact, it's property that I have in my Roth IRA. And so I'll just plugging those numbers in, plug it into a real property exists, and show you how this works so significantly. So you have $100,000 in the IRA, down from $200,000. Let's say you go out and buy a rental property. Now, I bought this rental property at the height of the market, because I'm a genius, in 2008. So the property, it's a house in Oklahoma, was market value at the time of sale was $180,000. Now, luckily, Oklahoma didn't have a big bubble, so Oklahoma also didn't have as big a crash as a lot of the country. So here we have a $180,000 property, and I'm buying it as a rental house and using a non-recourse loan, which I said as we get further into the class I will explain in detail. So what I needed to put down on this property was $63,000, and the rest was a loan from the bank inside my IRA. Now what happens when you do this is you obviously have a mortgage and deed of trust that goes inside of the IRA. So that $100,000 IRA, $63,000 was put down. I had another $37,000 cash. And we're going to put up a slide for you so you can kind of see this as I walk through it. But the value on the date the property closed, the market value of that IRA was $217,000. And $180,000 on the property, $37,000 cash. The day before, the market value of that IRA was $100,000. So literally the value doubled overnight by using other people's money inside of the IRA. Now, when I calculated this, and what I normally do with my investments is I like to look at what's happening now and project into the future what I expect as a return. So that way I'm comfortable with what I'm buying and when and where I want to sell it. We're coming up on 9 years on this property, and I projected capital appreciation on this property of about 3% per year. 3% is based on the market value at time of purchase. So the value is $180,000. So that would mean $5,400 a year. And I wanted to hold the property for about 10 years, so that would be $54,000 in capital gain. Now, has it hit 3% capital appreciation? If you take the 9 years in combination, it's very close. I didn't do it, at first, but it made up for it later on. And I suspect the longer I hold this property, it was originally meant to be sold in 10 years, but it actually has been such an incredible property that may not happen. It may continue to be held. So the value of the property, the cash in my IRA, and the appreciation would be $271,000. Remember, I started with $100,000 in this IRA, so it's not doing too bad. And you're going, yeah, but there's a loan on the property, and that's correct. And what I did was, instead of paying the minimum balance on the loan, I took, and this property is producing about $1,350 a month income. And I said that the net income would probably be $900 because you've got property taxes that have to be paid by the IRA, you've got management fees, you've got repairs, all that's paid by the IRA. So I figured that it would be about $900 a month that I could pay off of the loan instead of the minimum, which was around $700. And by doing that in 10 years, that would leave me with a balance on the loan of about $40,000. This loan will probably get actually paid off this year. Because it's been such a successful property, I've been able to accelerate payments on it. But let's use the $40,000 and stick with this hypothetical illustration. So the IRA tax advantage depreciation, if I were to sell the property for $271,000, I would receive back in my IRA. My IRA would receive $231,000. Now, in case you don't remember, my IRA put in $63,000. And that means if all these numbers bear out, in the end when I do sell it, that would be about 30% per year average annual return on this investment. Yeah, and that's with a crash in the market. So there is a lot of things that can be done with this. Now, remember, I'm not an investment advisor, and I can't give you advice, and I can't give you returns. So this is a hypothetical return based on figures that I've calculated on this actual property for me. Doesn't mean it's your property or what you're going to do, but it certainly is doable.